ओके सो आप सभी भक्तगणों का स्वागत है। स्कंद 3 अध्याय 7 श्लोक नंबर 1। विल स्टार्ट विद दैट। सॉरी। श्री शुक उवाच एवं ब्रुवन्नां मैत्रेयं द्वैपायन सुतो बुधः प्रणयम् एव भारत्य विदुर प्रत्याभिशत। Can you just increase the font size, dear? I'm having some difficulty. Yeah. एवं ब्रुवाणं मैत्रेयं द्वैपायन सुतबुधः प्रियणम् एव भारत्य विदुर प्रत्यभाषित। Yeah.
Shri Sukdev Goswami said, O king, while Maitre the great sage was thus speaking, Vidur the learned son of Dwaipayan Vyasa expressed a request in a pleasing manner by asking this question.
Text number 2. Vidura Vacha Brahman Katam Bhagavatash Chinmatrasya Vikarinahi Leelaya Chapi Yujreran Nirgunasya Gunakriyaha.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Sri Vidura said, O great Brahmana, since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a complete spiritual whole and is unchangeable, how is he connected with the material modes of nature and their activities? Is this his pastime? How do the activities of the unchangeable take place and exhibit qualities without the modes of nature? Purport. As described in the previous chapter, the difference between the super soul, the supreme Lord, and the living entities is that the activities of the Lord in creating the cosmic manifestation are performed by the Lord through the agency of his multifarious energies. But this manifestation is bewildering to the living entities. The Lord is therefore the master of the energies, whereas the living entities are subjugated by them. By asking various questions about transcendental activities, Vidura is clearing the misconception that when the Lord either descends to the earth in his incarnation or appears himself with all his potencies, he too is subjected to the influence of Maya, just like an ordinary living entity. This is generally the calculation of less intelligent philosophers who consider the position of the Lord and that of the living entities to be on the same level. Vidura is hearing the great sage Maitreya refute these arguments. The Lord is described in this verse as Chinmatra, or completely spiritual. The personality of Godhead has unlimited potencies to create and manifest many wonderful things, both temporary and permanent. Because this material world is the creation of his external energy, it thus appears to be temporary. It is manifested at certain intervals, maintained for some time, and again dissolved and conserved in its own energy. As described in Bhagavad Gita 8.19, Bhutva Bhutva Pariliyate, but the creation of his internal potency, the spiritual world, is not a temporary manifestation like the material world, but is eternal and full transcendental knowledge, opulence, energy, strength, beauties, and glories. Such manifestations of the Lord's potential are eternal and are therefore called nirguna, or free from all tinges of the modes of material nature, even up to the mode of material goodness. The spiritual world is transcendental even to material goodness and thus is unchangeable. Since the Supreme Lord of such eternal and unchangeable qualities is never subjugated by anything like material influence, how can his activities and form be conceived to be under the influence of illusory Maya, as is the case with the living entities? A juggler or magician displays many wonders with his acts and arts. He can become a cow by his magical tactics, and yet he is not that cow. But at the same time, the cow is displayed by the magician is not different from him. Similarly, the material potency is not different from the Lord because it is an emanation from Him. But at the same time, that manifestation of potency is not the Supreme Lord. The Lord's transcendental knowledge and potency always remain the same. They do not change, even when displayed in the material world. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord descends to the earth by His own internal potency, and therefore there is no question of His becoming materially contaminated, changed, or otherwise affected by the modes of material nature. The Lord is Saguna by His own internal potency, but at the same time is Nirguna, since He is not in touch with the material energy. The restrictions of the prison house are applicable to prisoners who are condemned by the king's law, but the king is never affected by such implications, although he may visit the prison house out of his goodwill. In the Vishnu Purana, the six opulences of the Lord are stated to be non-different from him. The opulences of transcendental knowledge, strength, opulence, potency, beauty, and renunciation are all identical with the personality of Godhead. When he personally displays such opulences in the material world, they have no connection with the modes of material nature. The very word matratva is the guarantee that the Lord's activities are always transcendental, even when displayed in the material world. His activities are as good as the Supreme Personality Himself. Otherwise, liberated devotees like Sukadeva Goswami would not have been attracted by them. Vidura inquired how the Lord's activities can be in the modes of material nature, as is sometimes miscalculated by persons with a poor fund of knowledge. The inebriety of the material qualities is due to the difference between the material body and spiritual soul. The conditioned soul's activities are displayed through the medium of the modes of material nature and are therefore perverted in appearance. However, the Lord's body and the Lord Himself are one and the same. And when the Lord's activities are displayed, they are certainly not different from the Lord in all respects. The conclusion is that persons who consider the Lord's activities material are certainly mistaken. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So brilliantly written purport, and lot of self-explanation is there. So we will concentrate on 2-3 points in this. One is the Chin Matratva. That is the word Chin Matratva is what we are looking at. And then the last statement, it says that the Lord's activities displayed are certainly not different from the Lord in all respect. The conclusion is that the persons who consider activities material are certainly mistaken. So what is the essence we get out of this beautiful purport? The essence that we get out of the purport is that if I have to just say the conclusion of the person who considers Lord's activities material is mistaken, why it is mistaken? Can anyone give me a reference from Bhagavad Gita where Krishna talks about his activities? I can give you a clue. It is from chapter number 4. Anyone would like to take a call?
Janma karma chame divyam.
Yeah. So there Bhagavan straight away says that Janma karma chame divyam. My activities are divine. And that is the reason Srila Prabhupada mentions that the conclusion is that the person who considers Lord's activities is material is certainly mistaken. Second thing also it talks about is that can you just go up a little bit? We'll come to the first paragraph. Yeah. So it talks about the Lord creating the cosmic manifestation performed through the Lord's agency of multifarious energies. Yes, there are so many energies which is there. Those energies also will work on it. So now, in the essence of this particular verse, agar hum lene jaye, purport and translation, it talks about the Supreme Lord is completely spiritual and unchanging. He is as it is. He is a Purusha untouched by Prakriti. Material modes cannot influence him. So we have seen the wonderful picture in the Goloka chart about the Garbhodaksha, the Mahavishnu lying down and glancing on the material energy, Uma Devi, through Rama. So he is not touching the Prakriti, and Prakriti is also not touching him, and material modes of nature cannot be influencing him. Yet, what we see is that we see him interacting with the material world. Now, interacting with the material world does not mean that he gets also changed by material world. How he interacts with the material world, can anyone give me an idea? His interaction on a personal interaction level, if somebody can give me some thoughts. He personally interacts with the material nature, in which way?
He is present in every soul, right? In the
Yeah,
material
he's
world.
present in every molecule. That's right. Kan kan mein Bhagwan. That is his nature, all pervading Vishnu. But on personal level also he's come. This is impersonal right now, what you have said. On personal level, so कैसे हमारे साथ interact करता है? You all are very close to answering that. Because just now I said that he is the Purusha. So in that way,
We make prayers, we offer prasadam, so it's a sort of personal interaction.
yeah, that is your side. But I'm telling you, how does he reciprocate that? Now, the direction
By
of the discussion is in the right direction. Absolutely fine. But there is something that he does in reciprocation. What does he does? Okay, one clue. Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, is your Lord, where is your Lord? He said everywhere. Is he in the pillar? Yes,
yes,
he's in the pillar also. So he smashed the pillar and the Lord came out.
yeah.
Yeah. So that is so what was that situation called? The appearance of the Lord is called as, what is that word I'm looking at?
Appearance of the knowledge.
Avatar?
Yes. By appearing as avatar, he gives you a personal touch. And then creating, maintaining, destroying through Purusha avatar. Avatar is the right word through which everything happens. So we have the Dasha avatar, we have multiple avatars in Bhagavatam, then we have the three Purusha avatars, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Shirodaksha Vishnu, Karanadaksha Vishnu. Sorry. So, and while he's maintaining and destroying and creating in the avatar, there is one important word that he's engaged in doing. What is the activity of the Lord called? In English it is pastime. In Hindi, if you call it
Leela.
in Hindi, लीला. तो दो चीज होता है, वो अपियर करता है एज एन अवतार, क्रिएशन, मेंटेनेंस, डिस्ट्रॉइंग भी करता है, एंड ही एनेक्ट्स अ लीला. So the doubt is what? How can the unchangeable being act in a changing world? So we say that he's unchangeable, but he has come into a place which is constantly changing. Even within this 1 second, what is gone by, in all our bodies, the change has taken place, and that is irreversible. So the key point is what over here? His activities are not caused by the modes, but by his own will. Prakrite kriyamana gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaramiti manyate. We souls are under the under the control of Maya, under the controls of Trigunya. But he is not under that control. It is by his own will. Shrijamyaham. I come by my own will. So that is the reason, though he comes to the material world, but by his coming, the material world is enlivened. It becomes active, but he himself is not affected. He is here to activate and keep the material world running, not get affected by it. Example क्या हो सकता है उसका? When the sun is beating on the earth, the sun rays are beating, it comes and touches with so many garbage, so many dirt, so many refuses, but does it get contaminated? The sun gets contaminated. Any idea? Does the sun, suppose the sun rays are falling on a urine, the wet urine. So does it get contaminated or it purifies the urine?
It purifies.
It purifies by extracting the water out of that, and that has become a cloud, part of the cloud, and that can fall anywhere. So you cannot say, oh, this is a urinated cloud. No. So same way, the Lord remains untouched by the material qualities even when they are acting here. And Why he remains untouched? What is the trick behind it that though he comes to the material world, he remains untouched? Like he takes avatar and Purusha avatar and everything, there is something that he has with him. What he does?
Because he is transcendental in nature.
Yeah, that's right. But what is his acting agency? He has an agent. He has a he has an agent. Who is that agent? Can anyone give me an idea?
Maya
Yogmaya.
Yeah. So that is his Shakti.
is
That
actually,
is
yeah,
his Shakti.
yeah.
So that Shakti is his agent and he acts through them. So he is not touching them. Like, for example, Mahavishnu is lying down and now he's thinking, I have to create. So that is called Ichha Shakti, right? That is called Ichha Shakti. Now, the moment he says, I want to create, the activity starts. So the activities is called Kriya. It is called Kriya Shakti. And when the Kriya activity starts, the action start, action, reaction, उसके आगे क्या होता है? Then it is called Kala Shakti. So what are the three primary Shaktis that is us? First is the Ichha, then is the Kriya, then is the Kala.
Kala.
So in this way, he has so many Shaktis. There is one Shakti called Satya Sankalpa Shakti. संकल्प शक्ति मतलब कैसा होता है? हम कुछ संकल्प लेते हैं कि आज हम ये ऐसा करेंगे. तो भगवान का संकल्प क्या है? Sorry, I want to create. So when the Lord says I want to create, the Satya Sankalpa Shakti comes there and she starts doing what the Lord wants. And of the queen of all the Shaktis is Karuna Shakti. So the Lord acts through his energies. So when he acts through the energy, he is untouched. So energy takes care, and the primary energy is Saladini Shakti, Rama Devi or Mahalakshmi, who is the center point between the Lord and the material world. So whatever has to happen, it happens through the mother. She is the one who takes charge and gives the instruction what is to be done. Any doubt until here? So all his activities, yes, Rao, anything?
No problem, no doubts.
So all all his activities, Leela, are not forced reaction. Now Krishna going and dancing with the gopis is not that by the dint of his karma he had to go and dance with the gopis. Krishna going and picking the clothes of the gopis on the bank of Yamuna river and sitting on the tree was not a karma. That because in the last janma the gopis took his dress and went on the tree, this janma Krishna came and took the cloth and went on top. It is his, there is no reaction, it is his pastimes. Like the conditioned soul, God does not act because of the karma and desire of born of modes. It's completely voluntary and fully spiritual. So that we have to understand. So why is it that we jivas are affected by the matter? What have we got to say with that? The Krishna comes, see, Krishna says, Mamaiva Amsha Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Right? आत्मा और परमात्मा का गुण एक ही है, सच्चिदानंद. So when this Krishna comes or the Vishnu comes or Narayana is there in the material world, they are not affected. But the same whose amsh, which is also pure in nature qualitatively, gets affected. So what is the reason that we are affected and he is not?
So he wants the Jivatma wants to stay away from Krishna because he wants to enjoy.
So he wants to enjoy, what is that word? He wants to enjoy dash. Absolutely.
Lord over the
Free will.
nature.
He wants to enjoy dash
Free will.
separately. You want to enjoy, I want to enjoy separately. So when Krishna interacts in the material world, he interacts out of compassion and purpose. His compassion is Tesham Ivanu Kampartham, Anukampa. And what is the purpose? why Krishna is acting. What is the purpose of Krishna? To do what? He comes to the material world and does the lila to do what? What is this purpose? To
Prabhu, to give a chance to the
yeah,
Jivatma, if they want
yeah.
to come along with him and go in the bhakti so that they can be out of these clutches of death and birth.
So Krishna's purpose and compassion is very clear. Now the jiva interacts in the material world out of what? Now, do we also interact due to compassion and purpose? All of us. We are interacting out of
our own desire.
desire, and there is one more word. Why we are acting out of that? What causes us to act out of our desire? And what is the key word?
Self gratification.
Gratification comes out of what? Ignorance. Out of
Ignorance.
ignorance, the false
Out
desires.
of ignorance. Yeah.
Are we connecting the link, everybody dear? I hope I'm not confusing you all.
No, 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 Prabhu.
No, Prabhuji.
So this is the essential difference between Krishna's interaction and Jiva's interaction. I want to enjoy separately out of ignorance and desire. Krishna has come to this matter world not to enjoy but out of compassion and purpose. So therefore the Lord's entering the material world is divine. It's a divine manifestation. Because even after coming here, why he is divine? He is unchangeable. He is the witness. He is the controller. He is the source of modes of material nature, but not touched by them. Krishna is untouched by these things. Vishnu is untouched. So he is Abhikari, Upadrishta, and Ishvara. Abhikari मतलब unchangeable, जिसका कोई विकार नहीं है. उपदृष्टा मतलब वो हमारे ऊपर नजर रखते हैं एक परमात्मा के स्वरूप में कि हम क्या कर रहे हैं. And he is the empowerment, and Ishvara the controller. So if we have to understand this entire scenario that we did, तो हम इसको कैसे समराइज कर सकते हैं. सो भगवान जो है भौतिक जगत में आते हैं, लेकिन भौतिक जगत उनको छू भी नहीं सकती, और उनकी माया से और उनकी लीला से, उनके एक्टिविटीज से, परफॉर्म थ्रू हिज एनर्जीज, and conditioned soul becomes influenced by the modes of nature, but Krishna does not. So in this entire purport, Srila Prabhupada has been trying to and successfully convincing us that Krishna is untouched, he is Chinmatra. Now, if we have to go a little bit more deeper, तो जो शब्द शिला प्रभुपाद ने 2 दफा लिखा, चिन्मात्रत्व. So how do you understand that word Chinmatratva? Chin, the first word is actually coming from the root word Chit. And Matratva means Matra. Matra means only. So when we say Chit means Satchidanand Vigraha, Chit means pure spiritual consciousness. And Matra means only. So Chin Matratva means being purely spiritual without a trace of matter. Being purely spiritual. Now understand one thing. We are also Chin Matratva. But because out of the desire and vasana and ignorance, we are suffering. That is the difference. So the argument being made in that particular case is that if God is Chin Matratva, none of his activities can be material. What Srila Prabhupada is proving over there is that because his nature is Chitta, pure consciousness, so what comes out of pure consciousness has to be pure. There will be no material aspect to it, whether it is his body, mind, desire, words, action, everything will be pure. And there is another part to it. In the second part, it talks about Shukdev Goswami getting attracted to Krishna's pastime, even though he was born liberated. अब इधर क्वेश्चन क्या उठता है? Already a liberated person, what is this need to go and listen to something else to get further more liberated? Liberated means liberated. Mukti matlab mukti. Lekin there is a catch to it. And what is the catch? Shukdev Goswami got attracted by the verses that was chanted by his father Srila Vyasadeva from Srimad Bhagavatam, and he became completely attached to Krishna. So what is the quality of Shukdev Goswami? Fully liberated, no interest in material life, renounce everything, absorbed in Brahma realization, and he rejected the topic touched by matter. Anything related to Kaitava Dharma, he completely rejected it. Yet, with all these qualities in there and being a Brahmavadi, he was able to get attracted to Krishna after listening. So, what is the proof? It means Shukdeva's attraction to the philosophical evidence was Krishna's transcendental nature. Because Krishna's activities is Janma Karma Chame Devyam Evam Yoveti Tatvata. And when Shukdeva Goswami, a pure soul, liberated soul, heard that, he said, oh, my Brahmavadi is nothing in front of this Premanandi. So Brahmanandi, Premanandi, Purnanandi. There are three kind of people, So Brahmanandis are one who are happy in Brahmajyoti. They are not against Krishna or they are not Mayavadis, but they are happy with the Brahmajyoti, because Brahmajyoti is also a rays coming from Krishna's body. But when he got an opportunity to understand Bhagwan, he took it. So the next question over here is that in Vidura's question, there was a particular scenario when it said that how does an unchanging spiritual Lord appear into act in the material world? How? So can someone give me some of the activities of Krishna in Vrindavan? First, in Mathura, his birth itself. As soon as he took birth, what happened? As soon as Krishna appeared,
Prabhu,
It
sorry
was all
Vasudev and Devaki, their hands and these are tied, but they opened
they
automatically.
opened. Absolutely brilliant, brilliant. Then at the age of 5 or 6, when Indradev was creating problem, what did he do?
He
Govardhan
lifted
uthaya tha Prabhu.
Govardhana.
He lifted the Govardhan. Is it in the capacity of even Indradev to lift a Govardhan, Prabhu and Mataji? I'm asking them.
No.
But Krishna has it. And then what was the favorite pastime of Krishna? Going and doing what in everybody's house?
Makhan churana.
Makhan Churana. And then when Arjun was in so much of anxiety, what is it that Krishna delivered him to?
Bhagavad Gita, Prabhu.
And the activities within the Vrindavan of so many demons coming and attacking the Lord and his peripherals. What did Krishna do?
killed all the demons,
What he did to the demons?
killed them.
He killed them. So these are spiritual activities or material activities. You take into consideration Krishna's size and the size of the demons, and he would just, in a snap of the minute, finish them up. So this is spiritual activity or material activity?
It is a spiritual activity because no human
So
being
the
is.
Chin Matra words, yeah. So the Chin Matra word is completely going on Krishna. It imbibes with his qualities, right? Yeah. So it means God is pure consciousness. Pure consciousness cannot be material. And Shukdev Goswami was attracted to Krishna Leela. So what happens in this? What is the relation to bhakti? Only transcendental topic can attract the soul, Prabhus and Matajis. You go and see, sorry, I'll be using some words now. आप कोई फिल्म देख लो, कोई टीवी सीरियल देख लो, कोई वेब सीरीज देख लो, उसको आप कितनी दफे देखोगे? 10 दफे, 20 दफे, 50 दफे, 100 दफे देख पाओगे? You think you'll be able to get some taste
No,
out of it after seeing it for 100 times?
we can't.
But now, over how many years now you are in the Bhagavatam cell class, all of you? Almost 3 years, Subhan.
Yeah.
But do you get bored or do you get excited when you are sitting in front of Srimad Bhagavatam and going to listen to it? What is your mindset?
We want to listen more and more, Prabhuji.
Gets excited, yeah.
And don't you feel that you get the happiness and the purification both?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yes.
So that is the reason it says that even the material ears and the mind become spiritual by hearing. Krishna Lila has his own consciousness. That's the reason we call it Krishna consciousness. And the Chin Matrato, that is the reason it explains that listening about Krishna's topics liberates us. Talking
Chitta.
about Krishna's topics liberates, purifies us, and continuously listening to that topic leads us to the love of Godhead. So the Kirtan Rasa that I was talking in the starting, it will give you Shravana is powerful, Kirtan is purifying, and Leela leads to Prema. Because Leela leads to Prema because when you think about an activity of God, you get attracted to it. So last but not the least, I would just summarize it in this way that because Krishna and his activities are entirely spiritual, they remain transcendental even when they come in the material world. Sorry, so we can go to the next one now. Next shloka. क्रीडायामुद्यमो अर्भस्य कामश्चिक्रीदृशायन्तः स्वतस्तृप्तस्य च कथं निवृत्तस्य सदायतः. Yeah, please
Boys
proceed.
are enthusiastic to play with other boys or with various diversions because they are encouraged by desire. But there is no possibility of such desire for the Lord because he is self satisfied and detached from everything at all times. Since the Supreme Personality of the Godhead is one without a second, there is no possibility that anything besides him can exist. He expands himself by his energies in multi forms of self-expansionists and separated expansions as well, just as the fire expands itself by heat and light. Since there is no other existence besides the Lord Himself, the Lord association with anything manifests his association with himself, manifests his association with himself. In Bhagavad Gita 9.4, the Lord says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakt murtinam masthani sarvbhutani na chaham tesho vidham. The complete manifestation of the karmic situation is an expansion of the Lord Himself in His impersonal feature. All things are situated in Him only, yet He is not in them. There is the opulence of the Lord attachment and detachment. He is attached to everything, yet He is detached from all. Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So this is again a beautiful word about telling that how this personality who has got nothing to do in the material world still runs it for us. So if we have to understand this verse, that beautiful verse, it says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina mastani sarva bhutani na chaham teshav avasthita. So it says that the Lord pervades the entire universe by his impersonal, all pervasive energy, yet he remains personally unaffected. So, although everything exists in his power, second thing, nothing can exist without him. So, two statements we are able to see from this beautiful purport. It says, everything exists within his power. Samarthyavan, is Sarva Samarthya. And nothing can exist without him. He himself is never confined, limited, or dependent on anything. When we say this word, he himself is never confined, limited, or dependent on anything. There is a beautiful Leela, Krishna Leela in Vrindavan, where Yashoda gets a shock by looking into Krishna's mouth. What was that?
Yeah,
He saw the
Krishna had
entire
eaten.
Yeah?
He
he
was
saw
Sumati,
the
can you?
entire cosmic
Okay, Sukum. Tell
सारा
Sumati
ब्रह्मांड उनको दिखाई दिया प्रभु.
Sarva Brahmand. Sumati Mata, you want to add something?
No, same thing, Prabhu. He had eaten mitti, and when Mata Yashoda saw in her mouth, in his mouth,
So
he saw
what
the
did
blood.
Yashoda saw inside the mouth?
All the
Entire the wonder
universe.
like Sur, Chandra, Brahmanda, everything is in his mouth.
And she saw herself and Krishna also standing inside.
Yes,
So is Krishna confined or unconfined now from this statement?
unconfined.
Confined, limited, or is he dependent on anything?
No.
No.
No, isn't it? Yeah, till that time, Yashoda was thinking my child is dependent on me, but he is Swarat. He is absolutely powerful. Yeah. So the simultaneous attachment and detachment. So when she saw the whole Brahmand, so in one way the Brahmand is attached to Krishna because nothing can exist without him. So he is attached because the creation rests on his energy, not him, his energy. And what is his energy? Maya Devi, Durga, Parvati. So she is the one. And he is detached. Why? Because he is not bothered about what's happening in their life. Unless asked for, he would not come. So the universe is dependent on him, but he does not depend on the universe. So that is how the attachment and detachment comes. Attachment means universe is dependent, so that attachment is there. He is attached. But that does not mean that he is not able to detach himself. So in one line summary, if you have to say, he supports and pervades everything, yet nothing can bind or influence him. He is simultaneously present everywhere and independent. So, like in the first particular verse, Rao Prabhu and Sushil Prabhu had said that God is all pervading, but he is beyond that also. Achintya Beda Bed. So, shall we go to the next verse, please?
Yes, प्रभु.
Asrakshet Bhagavan Vishwam Gunamayatma Mayaya Taya Samshistapatya Cheta Bhuya Pratya Pidhyasati. Yeah. Somebody can read
Hare
it.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ji. Jai Srila Prabhupada. By his self-sheltered potency of the three modes of material nature, the Lord has caused the creation of this universe. By her, he maintains the creation and conversely dissolves it again and again. Purport. This cosmic universe is created by the Lord for those living entities who are carried away by the illusory thought of becoming one with him by imitation. The three modes of material nature are for the further bewilderment of the conditioned souls. The conditioned living entity, bewildered by the illusory energy, considers himself a part of the material creation due to forgetfulness of his spiritual identity, and thus he becomes entangled in material activities life after life. This material world is not for the purpose of the Lord himself, but is for the conditioned souls who wanted to be controllers due to misuse of their God-gifted minute independence. Thus, the conditioned souls are subjected to repeated birth and death. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
Srila Prabhu. See, again, the self-sheltered potency of the three minutes, the Lord has caused the creation of the universe. By her, he maintains the creation, conversely dissolves again. There is a beautiful verse in Brahma Samhita that said, Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Shadana Shakti Rekha, Chayana Yasa Bibhanani Vibharti Durga, Ichhana Rupa Vicheshtata Cheshtatesha, Govinda Made Purusham Tamam Bhajami. So if you see that particular thing in the translation, Mataji, can you read the last line again? By her.
Hare Krishna. Hmm?
In the translation, that second line, by her.
Yeah, by her, By her, he maintains the creation and conversely dissolves it again and again.
Now, at one point of time, somebody had sent me a details telling that Mahalakshmi is the creator and destroyer of everything, and from Mahalakshmi comes Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and he quoted me the particular grantha. Now, this particular statement, by her, he maintains the creation. It means that her also has somebody on top who can be called as Maya Dakshina Prakriti. Can you just come to the shloka itself a little bit down? Bus. No, I want the synonyms, word by word meaning. So it says that Atma Mayaya, by the potency of himself, Taya, he maintains her. So this word Taya denotes that material energy who can be coming out of the spiritual energy called Mahalakshmi, because Durga is the material energy and Mahalakshmi is the spiritual energy. And then we were able to send them this verse telling that when you say that Mahalakshmi does everything, who is running Mahalakshmi from behind? That is the Lord over here. So if we have to understand this in a scenarios, what is the essence? The material universe exists not for the Lord's benefit, but for the conditioned souls who desire to imitate and compete with him. What is the imitation and competition? Kahan se aata hai? Where is the desire comes? The verse number 726 of Bhagavad Gita, who can tell me? There is a beautiful verse. Ichha Dvesha Samuttena. Ichha, what is the desire? To imitate the Lord, and Dvesha, you cannot compete with him. You try to imitate him, but there is no competition because one is supreme. He is Vibhu, we are Anu. So this material world is for us who desire to compete with him, but because of the desire, we are placed under the material modes of nature and we were bewildered. And the soul is made to forget the spiritual identity with repeated birth and death. So the Lord simply creates, maintains, and dissolves the universe through his energy, but he is never affected by it. So Krishna is it's like, you are the owner of the company. The company has many processes, but you are immune to that process because you are the process owner and writer and editor. So you are not a part of it. But people say, since he is reading and writing, he is also attached to it and part of it. No, it is not. He just simply creates and does it. So in core essence, what happens is it says, why the creation is there? Creation is there not for God, but for the living entity who misused the independence and came down. How does the Lord use this area? Through his Sattva, Raja and Tamogun, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. How does the soul further gets bewildered? Ishwara Maham Bhogi, thinking that I am the master, I am the enjoyer. But in this entire scenario, does the Lord remains touched or untouched? He is untouched. So if we have to understand this particular word and purport, we can say that the material world is the created temporary school where the soul who desired to be independent from God are made to go through the specific karmas and revive back their God conscious. The material world is a punishment for those souls who want to enjoy separately from God, but it is also a boon in disguise for those who want to reconnect to Krishna. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So that's how it works. Yeah? Any doubts in this before we go to the next words? Deshata Kalato Yoshva Yoshava Avastata Swato Anyataha Avilupta Vabodhatma Sayujitya Jaya Katham. Next.
The pure soul is pure consciousness and is never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, dreams, or other causes. How then does he become engaged in nescience? The consciousness of the living being is always present and never changes under any circumstances. as above mentioned. When a living man moves from one place to another, he is conscious that he has changed his position. He is always present in the past, present, and future, like electricity. One can remember incidents from his past and can conjecture about his future also on the basis of past experience. He never forgets his personal identity, even though he is placed in awkward circumstances. How then can the living entity become forgetful of his real identity as pure spirit soul and identified with Master unless influenced by something beyond himself? The conclusion is that the living entity is influenced by the av- av- Avedya potency as confirmed in both the Vishnu Puran and the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The living entity is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.5 as Para Prakriti, and in the Vishnu Puran, he is mentioned as the Para Shakti. He is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord as potency and not as the potent. The potent can exhibit many potencies, but the potency cannot equal the potent at any stage. One potency may be overcome by another potency, but to the potent, all potencies are under control. The Jiva potency or the
Kshetragna Shakti.
Kshatriya Shakti of the Lord has a tendency to be overpowered by the external potency. Avedya karma samjan, and in this way he is placed in the awkward circumstances of material existence. The living entity cannot be forgetful of his real identity unless influenced by the Avedya potency. Because the living entity is prone to the influence of the avidya potency, he can never equal to supreme potent.
So here we are again talking about the quality of the soul, which is also same as Krishna's quality, because both are the part and parcel. We are part and parcel of Krishna. But there is no equation point because Krishna is Vibhu. Vibhu means one which is completely powerful, and Anu means just a part and parcel, one speck. Going to the sea or the river, you can take a glass of water. The quality of the water that you took from the river will be the same as the water in the river. But when the river comes to a real form, she can destroy so many villages. Can a glass of water do that? Anybody? Can you
No,
destroy a house by a glass of
no,
water?
no.
So here it is mentioned that the avidya part. Now this avidya potency is overpowered by the external energy avidya karma. So at what point of time this happens? This avidya karma overpowers us. Because the jiva potency, it is mentioned here, see, the fourth line on top, the jiva potency or Kshetragna Shakti of the Lord has a tendency to be overpowered by external potency. If you have to make this statement understand, how do you make it understand? Can anyone shed some light that in which condition you will get overpowered by external potency? Being the son of Krishna, how can a villainous person overpower you?
Forgetfulness.
Well,
Forgetting that we are part of Krishna.
is it being forgetful or being averse to Krishna? What would you say? Because you have that limited potency, independent potency.
May not be averse, because there are times when we remember Krishna, but sometimes we do certain things forgetting him and thinking that we are the owner and we need to do it in a particular way, not realizing that he's giving us the permission.
So in that case, isn't that an indirect averseness? I will act the way how I want to act. Let me see what I can do because I am the Ishvara. Yes, he is there. I remember Krishna that he is there, but I need to do what I need to do. Like suppose our 15-year-old son suddenly decides to do something in his life and he just becomes oblivion that my father is there. I need to talk to him. It's okay. I am intelligent enough. I understand. Later on, we can see what happens. So, isn't that a deliberate awareness or an indirect awareness? That Krishna is there, you know it, but still you decided to go ahead, like it happened in Yudhishthir's case. जब वो राज्यसभा के अंदर द्यूत क्रीड़ा में था, didn't he become averse to Krishna at that point of time by his own independence, that I can manage this situation?
Yes, yes.
So if you understand the situation is, avidya comes to you or Maya attacks you when you decide to be separately or independently acting against Krishna or without Krishna. And in the same classical case of Tyut Krida, there was one personality who raised their hand and suddenly there was a help. Who was that? Draupadi, right? So mindset of Draupadi and Yudhishthir, both are devotees. Mind you, I'm not talking about some Duryodhan or Dushasan or Kamsa or Shishupal, who would also remember Krishna but in a different way. These are surrendered souls. But the moment they became averse to Krishna for some time, like Yudhishthir, he suffered the biggest loss of his life. And the moment Draupadi decided that I have nobody to support me but only Krishna, and she got subjugated to Krishna's potency, she was protected. So in the same lines, if you see, what are the main points that we can see? The soul is pure consciousness and always aware of itself. You are always aware of the situation, most probably, because you never lose your identity by self. But forgetfulness of spiritual identity is unnatural to the soul. Actually speaking, if you don't allow yourself to be overpowered by Maya, the best way is to be Krishna conscious. But Bhagavan says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante. Yeah? Bhagavan says, Ye yatha, आप जितने परसेंटेज में मुझे शरण का लोगे उतने ही मैं तुमको हेल्प करूंगा, 100% को 100%. So that point of time, जब हम पूरा शरणागति नहीं होते हैं, a bit of Krishna and a bit of Radhapada. So Radhapada Pankaj Prabhu, who's sitting here, is a devotee of the Lord, yes, but there are sometimes I prefer to make my own decisions and put Krishna aside, not keeping him in the center. Doesn't it happen to all of us?
Yes, it
Yes,
happens.
Prabhu, many times actually.
Many times, yeah. So उसमें क्या होता है? The moment you leave that aorta of doubt or that small opening, who attacks? The Maya will attack. And once that foot is inside the door, then only God knows how much of Maya will come inside. That is the time the stronger energy acts upon the weaker energy. The Maya, who is a superior energy, attacks this Parashakti. That is the ignorance potency. So the Jiva is Lord's minute potency and he has a small independence. You know what is that independence? That I may or I may not choose to be under Krishna conscious. Am I right? But do you all know one
Yes,
thing?
sir.
The avatars of the Lord, right from Matsya avatar until all the avatar, they do not have the minute independence. Do you know that? How many of you know that? Imagine being avatar of the Lord Vishnu, they are not having that independence. They exactly do what they are come down for as Krishna has instructed.
Okay.
But for Jivas, as a son of the Lord, we have been empowered. Okay, यथा इच्छासी तथा कुरु. गीता पूरा सुनाने के बाद क्या बोला अर्जुन को? यथा इच्छासी तथा कुरु. अब जो तेरी इच्छा थे करना है कर. तो इमीडिएटली वो क्या बोला? करिष्ये तव वचन अहम. नहीं भगवान आपने जो बोला, क्यों? नष्ट मोह प्रायशु. मेरा मोह जो है नष्ट हो गया. एंड भगवान ने भी बोला कि निमित्त मात्र भवे सवे साची. देखो अर्जुन, मैंने खाली तुमको निमित्त बनाया तो तुम ये कर लो, otherwise I have already done what I am supposed to do. But because the Jiva has to understand, he is very tiny, so he can be overpowered by Maya anytime. So if you are not connected to Krishna, eventually Maya will connect to you, even if you don't want to. So if we have to understand this, the soul forgets the spiritual identity only when it is overpowered by the avidya potency of the Lord. But the moment you decide that I am going to be Krishna consciousness, the overpowerance of that Maya or avidya potency reduces. So if I have to ask one question, what is the consciousness of the jiva? A jiva, first is जीव को मृत्यु है,
Yes,
आत्मा को
Prabhu.
मृत्यु है,
Yes. Yeah.
आत्मा को मृत्यु है.
Atma ko nahi hai.
I,
इधर जीवात्मा में बोल रहा हूँ, जीवात्मा को मृत्यु नहीं है. So
yeah.
what is the mindset of this? What is the eternal position? Satchidanand. But is Satchidananda Vigraha nahi, Amsha. Vigraha is Krishna. We are Amshas. And avidya is the separating energy. Avidya puts you into test and reforms the soul. Avidya does a thankless job. And conditioning is not a part and parcel of your nature, but it is imposed on you because I and you decided to be separate from Krishna. And liberation means removing the cover, not changing the soul. You have to change the cover on top of the soul. So that is the greatness of the Lord, that He is always for us. And that is the smallness of the Jiva, that is always against Krishna. So shall we go to the next one? भगवान एक एवैष सर्वक्षेत्रेषु अवस्थितः अमुष्य दुर्भागवतं वा क्लेशो वा कर्म विकुटः.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The Lord, as a super soul, is situated in every living being's heart. When they do the living entity's activities, result in misfortune and misery. Purport. The next question put forward by Vidura to Maitreya is, why are the living entities subjected to so many miseries and misfortunes in spite of the Lord's presence in their hearts as a super soul? The body is considered a fruitful tree, and the living entity and the Lord as super soul and are like two birds seated in the tree. The individual soul is eating the fruit of the tree, but the super soul, the Lord, is witnessing the activities of the other bird. A citizen of the state may be miseries for want of sufficient supervision by the state authority. But how can it be possible that a citizen suffers from other citizens while the chief of the state is personally present? From another point of view, it is understood that the Jiva living entity is qualitatively one with the Lord, and thus his knowledge in the pure state of life cannot be covered by nescience, especially the presence of the Supreme Lord. How then does the living entity become subjected to ignorance and covered by the influence of Maya? The Lord is the father and protector of every living entity, and is known as the Bhuta Bharat, or the maintainer of the living entities. Why then should the living entity be subjected to so many sufferings and misfortunes? It should not be so, but actually we see that it happens everywhere. This question is therefore put forward by Vidura for solution.
We'll read the number 7 also.
Yeah.
एतस्मिन्मे मनो विद्वान् खिद्यते ज्ञान संकटे तन्ना परनादु विभो कश्मलम मासनम महत्. It is just a one-line translation.
Hare Krishna. Translation. O great and learned one, my mind is greatly illusioned by the distress of this nescience, and I therefore request you to clear it up. Purport. Such mental bewilderment, as represented here by Vidura, takes place for some living entities, but not for everyone. For if everyone were bewildered, there would be no possibility of a solution by higher personalities. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Okay, so we go to number 6. So the Lord as the Paramatma in this particular question, that if the super soul is sitting, then why the jiva has to suffer? That's right, no? The father is sitting, but the son is suffering. Suppose, but so if we are, before I begin this particular discussion, I just want to ask one question to all the gentlemen and Matajis over here, that you are there and in front of you, if your son is suffering, isn't it your duty to stop his suffering?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, yes.
फादर या मदर के रहते हुए बच्चे को तकलीफ कैसे हो सकती है? यही प्रश्न पूछा है ना विदुर ने.
Yes, Prabhu. कि प्रभु
So what will be
भगवान
answer?
हमारे हृदय में है तो हमारे पास है.
Yes.
Why we are suffering then?
Why we are suffering? Then what is the answer to it?
वही अपना free will से we want to do our own things.
Like for example, अभी एक 5 साल का बच्चा बैठा है उधर. He's trying to fiddle something over there. When you keep telling, बेटा मत करो, देखो तुमको लग जाएगा, मत करो. He looks behind with an air of superiority. Come on, mom, I'm going to handle this. And what the mom says, ठीक है, जो करना है कर ले, बाद में देखती हूँ. And then he gets defeated, he gets hurt, comes crying. So mother says, I told you, but you didn't listen. So our discussion starts from here. The essence is the Lord as a Paramatma is always witnessing and guiding from within. But the Jiva misuses the independence and rejects the Lord's guidance and tries to enjoy separately. And when that free will of misuse of the free will is done, the Paramatma will not interfere. Therefore, the Jiva tastes the fruit according to the karma, pleasant or painful. And the two birds' actions we have seen. It's not the lack of God's presence, but it is the Jiva's choice that creates suffering. Right? So how can the Jiva suffer when the Lord is there? The answer will be there. When the Jiva turns away from the Lord allows the Maya to act. What else Krishna can do?
बट प्रभु जब कोई व्हेन समबडी टेक्स बर्थ उस समय तो हर एक का ये चाहे वो उस मतलब ही हैज इट मींस ही हैज एट दैट टाइम डिसाइडेड के बिकॉज़ ही वांट्स टू स्टे अवे फ्रॉम कृष्णा. It is only at a subsequent stage that he will suppose go to Krishna Bhavnamrit or something like that, that he can, then he is attracted by the Krishna.
Actually speaking, if you read the movements of the living entity in the garbha of the mother, by the time you reach the 7th month, you are already praying to Krishna in the garbha itself. That my dear Lord, my stupidity, please forgive me. मैं बाहर आके सुधर जाऊंगा, मेरे को इस कंडीशन से निकालो. तो ऑलरेडी आपने भगवान को प्रॉमिस कर चुका है पेट के अंदर ही. फिर बाहर आने के बाद में भूल गए, बोले तू कौन मैं कौन. So we living entities are very, 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 very prone to get enticed by Maya when we use our independence in a wrong way. So, going by the same argument that what Sushil Prabhu has presented, or the statement that he says, so let's combine these two things. The soul is pure by nature, we agree.
Yes.
So it never loses the awareness. But the problem of the soul is it is very tiny, and it can be attacked by a superior potency. ये भी सही है.
That's true.
Point number 3, the Lord is sitting in the heart to guide and witness and support the Jiva as your friend, philosopher and guide. But the Lord does not force the soul because he respects the soul's free will. देखो भगवान को देखो, वो सर में फटका मार के बोल सकते हैं मैं क्या बोला सुनो. He says no, I respect your free will. And when the Jiva desires the independence, the Lord allows the independence to happen and Maya covers it, the knowledge. And then the soul is experiencing suffering, not because God is not present, because he has turned away from God. So the soul suffers not due to the absence of God or lost consciousness, but because it is tiny, independent, allows to be overpowered by Maya. So when it turns away from the super soul, इसको एक problem होता है. So we have completed until 7. Can we see verse number 8 also? श्रीशुक उवाच स इदं चोदितक्षत्रा तत्त्वजिज्ञासु मुनिः प्रत्याह भवचच्चित्तः समयन् एव गता समय. Somebody can read the translation.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, O King Maitreyi, being thus agitated by this inquisitive Vidura, at first seemed astonished, but then he replied to him without hesitation, since he was fully God conscious. Purport: since the great sage Maitreya was filled with God consciousness, he had no reason to be astonished at such contradictory questions by Vidura. Therefore, although as a devotee he externally expressed surprise, as if he did not know how to reply to those questions, he immediately became perfectly settled and properly replied to Vidura, Yasmin Vignate Sarvam Evam Vignatam Bhavati. Mundak Upanishad 1.3. Anyone who is a devotee of the Lord knows about the Lord to some extent, and devotional service to the Lord makes him able to know everything by the grace of the Lord. Although a devotee may apparently express himself to be ignorant, he is full of knowledge in every intricate matter. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Abhi, if you go to see in this particular verse and purport, the Lord, his activities, his qualities, and the jiva, everything is there. And the question is little bit that how can a devotee like Vidur ask this question? So ideally speaking, the essence of the purport is what over here? It is a combined setup of the last three verses. It says, like the pure soul is never ignorant, naturally, if pure consciousness is there, but he gets controlled by the superior energy. Why does the soul suffer when the God is right in the heart? That was the next question. And how Maitreya responds to these contradictions? Because a devotee being God conscious can understand even the most complex spiritual truths, the devotion grants the real knowledge to the Lord, to the person who's under the grace of the God. So the conclusion is what? In this case, the soul suffers only due to his own choices once he turns away his face from the super soul under the influence of avidya. But a devotee understands this clearly because devotion reveals the truth. So from here on, what you will see, how a devotee will tackle these questions and answer that. So this is the end of it. I leave the session open for question answers. Hare Krishna.
Anybody has any question? Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you very much, like always. Sushil Prabhu, Sumati Mataji, Rakesh Prabhu, Rao Prabhu, any question? No, Prabhu.
I think we had some point by point discussions and looks like the devotee member Sabha is little bit satisfied.
Yes, Prabhu.
Because I tried to keep it as interactive as possible because the length of the session was there. So I thought let us put some more points and bring a more of interactive session.
True, Prabhuji, that is good.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming over, always enlightening us. So let's
We will catch up.
sorry, Prabhu, you said something?
No, continue, Prabhu. It's okay.
I was saying let us chant Vaishnava Pranam mantra before we thank Prabhu and end the class. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः अनंत कोट
anantakoti
वैष्णव वृंद की जय
Prabhupada ki
वृंद की जय हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. Thank you.
Thank you for joining
Thank you,
everybody.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.